So, first thing that I figured out was to get this program called KeyStage. I'll bring it up right here. I'm a beta tester for this. So the version that I have two versions. So I have this 2.1 version, and then I also have the normal one over here. At some point soon, he's supposed to release the version that I'm working off of, this 2.1. But I don't know when that's going to happen. So this is a host, just like Gig Performer or Cantabile, if you're into that in computers. Kind of like the Muse receptors were hosts. It's basically like a DAW without the recording stuff. And using this host, you can create set lists and songs. So I'm going to open up, as you can see, I have a bunch of set lists, right? KeyStage is quite powerful. The first time that I was using it, I was actually doing a hybrid setup. So I was doing like, let's check this 45 track 1 load set list. Yeah, so you can see it's got this part, I'm gonna highlight right there, this montage part. So this is actually sending, recalls to the montage. You can see it's on this output port over there, going to the montage. And it will pull up, it's pretty crazy, it will pull up this begging part, and the same thing. Oh, I deleted it actually. Huh. Well, maybe I deleted it from all of these. Let me find a song instead. Let's go back. On control. So all these ones that are marked iPad, I created to use just with the iPad, and all the rest of these, here we go, Superstition, load, should have a montage part. Yeah, here we go. So every one of these parts, right, part 2, part 3, these are all MIDI blocks. So this is telling KeyStage this MIDI signal that I'm sending in. See how that little blue light's flickering? It's because I'm tapping my MIDI controller. You don't hear it because it's solo right now, and it's soloing the montage, which isn't connected. But if you look over where it says instrument on the right-hand side, over here, you can see this program 12, master bank 64, or most significant byte, least significant byte, right? That's all program change information to tell the montage, hey, pull up this Superstition patch. And using that, I was able to play the montage. The patch is built into it, and then I actually had a way to turn on and off the MIDI, because you can see over here it says input channels 2 over there, so it's coming in on input channel 2. I could actually turn that off on the montage, so this wouldn't make any sound. This organ VST wouldn't make any sound. So that's one way to use. KeyStage. It's in a hybrid setup. The way that I ended up doing it, because we couldn't fly, was to just straight up create the whole patch. So let's just take the same patch because it's easier. And you see a whole bunch of stuff pop up. So everywhere that there's one of these blocks, these are all MIDI blocks. And they tell us KeyStage something is happening with MIDI, and then this part needs to be this part needs to be activated, right? If there's no block, like in solo, this chord module that's not available, because chord module is a clav. Well, I have it pulled up to be a clav. It's a sampler, but it's playing clav. But what I wanted is a synth, and right now it's actually playing 2 synths. I guess the last time I did this, I had them both activated. So that's how you build. So you would set up verse, and then you'd say, I want to drop, this thing in, and then put a part in there. And then it turns it all into sound, right? MIDI goes in, sound comes out, just like a regular keyboard, but there's a bunch of wires connected to everything. So then what the hell are all the rest of the things? Well, if I tap mixer, you'll see that there's like these EQ tracks, right? And There's the compressor tracks. So these are all effects that I've loaded because I didn't like the way it sounded from the get-go, so I had to sculpt it. So actually I stole a lot of this from the montages Superstition patch. But you can see, like, I'm just boosting low end, some mids. And I think, oops, that's not gonna do it. Never know what's gonna happen when you tap something. I was trying to mute this. I don't know how to, bypass. Nope, that's not it either. Well, there's a way to bypass this that I can't figure out right now, but to show you. Yeah, I can't figure it out. Whatever, not a big deal. I haven't played in like 4 weeks. So anyways, in KeyStage, there's a whole bunch of tutorials, but this is how I set everything up. And this is how I make my entire set list. So we'll go back to the set list real quick. Our set list, open, iPad, load set list. And you'll see all this stuff along the bottom. These are all songs that I've made, right? So this first one, it's just an organ patch. This organ is called VB3. Pull it up. You can create your own presets in it. You can use their presets. You can control it all with MIDI controllers, or you can tap on it. And it's all programmable. And there's like different MIDI values. You can change these CCs if you need to. And then they have these translator thingies over here. If you really wanted to not use that, you can make your own custom translators. So that just turns one MIDI signal into another MIDI signal. So it keeps things separated. And you can see, again, I've loaded in a VST effect over here. And that was to get rid of, you can see that's to get rid of the low end. There's like rotor noise. It's really kind of weird. There's rotor noise though. If this low cut wasn't here, you would hear. So I had to get rid of that because that was annoying. So then I'd be playing, do the last note, and then I just double tap, or I actually had a button programmed on the controller, and I'd tap the button and it'll go to the next song, and then because I'm on a different keyboard. There you go, you got the next one. Then you can tap a button and it'll go to the next part of the song, right? So the first song didn't have many parts. This one, I got the main lick, and then there's a part where we broke out and I needed an organ sound. So baby, 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 and it works together like that. And then I don't play the solo anymore, so I would always just kind of skip that. But at one point, I did have a solo, so I programmed a synth. That synth is Moog Model D. It's a good one. It's a little bit CPU hungry, but just be careful what you layer on top of it, and you're fine. And then you tap it again, and it goes back to the main lick at the beginning. Finish the song. So every song kind of goes like that, is set up that way. I don't necessarily think verse, chorus. That's a lot of program changes and patch changes. But I also don't tend to like to go backwards. I only want to step forwards. So there are a couple songs, I'll pull one up just to show you, where I do have to do stuff like that. This program is called Neo Soul Keys. It's a great EP library. It's probably the best. I mean, it says the best sounding. It really is, like, it's really, really freaking good. This is OBX for the solo. I have it running through a reverb. I use a lot of the tone booster stuff. They're cheap, and they're the direct ports from the PC or your Mac, so they're awesome. They work really, 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 really crazy well. And then I also have this Desert Cities. That's the delay, and you can see I've got two of them in here. When I go to section 3, this was like a breakdown section, and so I pulled up a different patch. And it's just trippy. It's just trippy. And then it would go back to me. You know, it goes back to the original, right? And then we move on to the next song. What I wanted to show you was one of the more complicated ones, to show you how crazy this can get if you want it to get crazy. I'm still searching. Where? I think Redbone's pretty nuts. Redbone has like a lo-fi thing at the beginning. So when you get see how long that took? When you get a complicated patch, you got to think ahead, because it will take 10 seconds, 8 to 10 seconds, so you got to be pretty proactive. I think you heard that ticking sound. Yeah. So that's actually this time machine down here. And it's a vinyl emulation. So we started out the song, and it was made of a medley. We ripped the medley apart, but we kept the beginning. We actually put the intro. And then I would switch to this Rhodes sound, right? So I only have 3 octaves. I can't actually play the whole thing in both hands. But there was this part, and then up higher, there's... So that's a Glockenspiel. That's from this PSP, Pure Synth Platinum. Glocken. Pure Synth Platinum is like a Rompler, right? So that's... it's made by this gospel musicians, the same people that make the Neo Soul keys. Their stuff is good. This is great. This one's great because there's just random weird stuff you need to play sometimes, and without a sampler, it's hard to find that. It's kind of like sometimes you have to reach to the general MIDI bank. Well, not really anymore with the montages, but you used to have to reach to the general MIDI bank. This supplies sounds like that, like sounds that I'm not really going to use very often, but I need them sometimes. So you can see this one had a lot of different stuff going on, and actually when I pull up the mixer, you can see that even some of the levels change. Like watch this mixer level, it moved down just a little bit, it moves down a whole lot of bit. And so what I was doing is on each verse or each chorus, I wanted something to sound a little bit different. And then like you can hear that staticking sound finally just stopped, right? Because on the bridge I didn't want it anymore. Oh, it's lower than that. So that's coming from Tal, which is a Juno 60, I believe, or a Juno 6. Juno 60 and 6 are basically the same thing. It's an emulation. This actually comes from, again, this is a port directly from the Windows version that they have. So I tend to buy Audio Damage tone boosters. Those are direct ports. Gospel musician, those are direct ports that you can buy, on your Mac. They cost a lot more on your Windows PCs or whatever. They're $10 on here, but they're $50-$60 on the PC. So, but I consider that to be a win. But like if I scroll, you can see like there's just so much stuff. Again, I had a solo in here. The synth patches that you can get out of the iPad are ridiculous. Again, look, there you go. There's the Moog again, the Model D. The synth patches you can get out of iPad are just absurdly good. They are far beyond what the montage can do. I don't think I've played any piano for you, so go to easy, like Sunday morning. So this one, oh, that's right, I did. I need to take that off of there. Take that off of there. This one uses Colossus piano. A lot of people don't like Colossus piano. You have to know how to use it. But it does sound, once you dial it in, it sounds great. Like, that's an upright patch. Every piano you buy in every piano sound in Colossus, you have to buy a different one. So I bought the upright, the brown upright in particular, because it sounds the best. I bought the white one first because it was cheaper. I just buy the brown one. It sounds better. It's like, save your time. But I have other uprights and different tools for different jobs. But that one worked the best for this. What's another one? Virtual Insanity. Yeah. I don't know if I have enough notes to play. So this is Ravenscroft. This is one of the best grand pianos. It's one of the best grand piano sounds on iOS. If I bring up the live, so what I just tapped was this live console. So this live console actually will show you several different things. It'll show you the information on the bottom, right? So if you don't need to read the music, if you need an XY controller for whatever reason, sometimes synths use XY controllers, you can do that. You can type in lyrics. I use it a lot for the media because when you got 40 songs, I tend to forget what I'm doing. So this way you can I use Fourscore, or I literally just will write it in like one note, and then I can export it into here. So, and that's like, most of that was MIDI 127 because this controller really has a light touch because it's mini keys. I'll actually show you my setup right now. It can be a bit of a cable-y mess, really. But we have the MIDI keyboard, which I'm going over just USB. The important part again is this dock. This is a Via dock, Amazon special. It has a built-in DAC, right? So it's a headphone jack. You don't need that in a dock necessarily if you use the band's Scarlett 2i2 audio interface, but it's important that whatever dock you get has power delivery. Well, that's what this one is. This is the power in. This one has actually 3 USB ports. There's 2 USB A's and a USB C, so that's why I like this one. But that runs MIDI through the whatever keyboard. I have a MIDI to USB adapter for some keyboards that I've used in the past, which became useful in Thailand because their keyboard didn't have MIDI over USB, so I had to use my little plug. So in that case, I didn't have this keyboard with me, but I had the Scarlett going into one of them, and I had this keyboard, or I had the MIDI interface going into another one, and then I actually had a little drum pad thing I was using, or a fader pad I was using to change sounds, and that was plugged into the third. So all 3 USB ports were used. So I would recommend some kind of 3-port USB that has power, and honestly, make it USB-C power delivery instead of like some crappy adapter that you got to carry around, because then you can just plug your Apple adapter in. Makes it easier. That's what the setup looks like. Where are we? Oh, we're back on Virtual Insanity. So, but if I had the touch control, I don't really have good touch control anyway, but it's capable of playing. It's capable of playing some really subtle details. Yeah, so that's pretty much the gist of it. you'll see, like if I pull up this one, Tennessee Whiskey, there's this audio input over here. So you can actually, I was running the band Scarlet, so I had a guitar plugged into the Scarlet, and what's really cool, if I bring up the mixer, is you can actually, it says muted input, which means that the guitar won't play. And then in section 2, I turned it back on. So now, like, it's listening to my voice, which it may create a feedback loop, I'm not sure. But you can see it flashing right there. So it's listening to my voice. But it would be a guitar, but you can like throw effects onto your guitar signal or whatever, or if you want to do it vocally, you can do that and put a microphone into the Scarlet. But you can run actual audio through KeyStage. So that's how I get around everything. And again, like, I'm scrolling through with my finger. I don't have camera the up on here to show you, but you can set buttons on a controller to do all this for you, to like go from one song to the next, and you can set buttons to go from section to section, or you can have the live console up, and you can just tap where it says section 2, tap section 2, tap section 3, tap section 4, tap the next song, and you can literally reach your hand up and tap if you want. So that's the gist of KeyStage and how I built all my sets. Now, what software would you need to really get started? Either KeyStage or AUM as a host. So AUM is another host, but AUM doesn't have as good a preset management, and it's not as flexible. I would also get some kind of sample or some kind of piano program and sampler. You can see I have a lot of them. You definitely need this. VB3M is amazing. Recall. Like, sounds dope. So that's organ. I told you about Ravenscroft. I told you about Colossus. I told you about Neo-Soul Keys. Told you about Pure Synth. Those are like the big ones. Oh, Quark Module. So I have a love-hate relationship with Quark Module. Like, it sounds okay. In a band context, like, that sounds okay. When I'm practicing, it drives me bonkers because it sounds like an old keyboard. Like, it's so close to being good, but it's also not quite good. I did find that if I pull up one of the Ivory samples, so I didn't buy anything inside a Chord Module. There's like a whole store. But I did buy the American, it's supposed to be an American Steinway, because the original piano is like super thin. Like, that sounds cheeky. You compare that with the bass patch for the Ivory, and it's quite a bit better. But I found that if I layer it, and I'll show you how to do this real quick, because this is cool, with Barricade. So I'm going to add 2 tracks. I'm going to put what we were just in, Chord Module. Where did it go? There's a lot of stuff. Chord Module. I put Chord Module on this one, and then on this one we're going to put actually an effect. We're going to put Barricade. Barricade is a limiter. And then we got to go to the mixer, and we got to put them on each other, right? Because if you don't, that's like plugging a wire in. If you don't do that, then it's not going to actually see anything. And then we'll pull up Ivory, because that's what we were just using. A lot of steps, a lot of clicks, I know. Add another part. You're going to say, oh, that sounds just like it just did. But watch this. If I pull up Barricade, and I turn on this saturation, like a tape saturation, And then I boost this gain into the ceiling. It's not easy on this keyboard. I don't know if you can hear the difference. I can hear the difference though. And you can actually, like, if I do this, see this wiggly thing over here that's moving? This is actually going to turn it down just a little bit, turn the output down. So I'm pushing into the ceiling, right? But I can actually push the gain up into that, and it'll just, what it does is it makes the loud parts not as loud. And yeah, you can, that's what's getting cut out, but so like that already sounds just beefier. But again, that's all to say, I have a love-hate relationship with Module. Every once in a while, there's something in there that I find that I have to use. Really, I used it for the clavs more than anything. I didn't really use it for the electric pianos because, like, they're okay, but they're nowhere near Neos LPs. And there's some other random bells and stuff in here, but like all this stuff is in one of the other things. So this was the first program that I bought though, because I didn't know how far into this stuff I would get. For synths, oh my god, there's so many. Synthmaster 1 is freaking awesome. And they fixed one of its, there was a glitch in the low end that they fixed, but like there's just, look at all this stuff. There's just all kinds of stuff in there. User presets, what do I got? My presets. It apparently lost all my presets. So it's got all the electronic sounds in it and all of the other sounds. So that's Synthmaster 1. I use this VHS synth. I started to use this a lot by Audio Kit. It is so cool. Not the original patch though. That's kind of crazy. Sorry about that. It's probably kind of loud. Like these strings. Or horns. Like I got real into this lo-fi kind of stuff and playing with that in the band. So VHS synth lets you get it. VHS synth, Synthmaster 1. I use Towel a lot. It's that Juno thing. Like, I'm telling you, where's my Juno Factory Bank A? You can get that brass sound. I gotta find it though. You can get the Juno strings, like, turn on the chorus. So cool, man. So cool. And it does all the, it does a lot of the sounds that a lot of modern producers are using right now too. So, brass. Right? But then you add this chorus. Or you add the second chorus. So cool. I like Tau. I use it a lot. OBXD gives you the jump sound. Yeah, use it or not. Model D is great. You saw that all over the place. It sounds like a mini Moog. I don't know how they did it. It sounds like a mini Moog. So, Desert Islands, for what I did, Synthmaster 2 is awesome, but only if you have an M1 iPad. It's too heavy for mine. Mine's a 2018. Synthmaster 1, VHS Synth, Tau, Model D. Those are the ones that I use all over the place. Everything else is like sprinkling here or there. I use OBX probably the second most after that. Digital D1 crashes. Digitalism 2000. It's cool, but I don't use it very much. Sunriser, I never got to use it. Frams is freaking weird. I bought it because it was on sale. And then the effects. So, really important, get this guy, Tone Boosters EQ. It allows you to dial in dynamic EQ. So I can make a band, turn it on, turn it off. You can make it dynamic or not. It's not working, probably because I'm using it as standalone and not, oh, that's right, it's muted, because if it wasn't, you'd be hearing crazy amounts of feedback right now. But each one of these bands is completely sweepable, completely dynamic, which is nice, because then if you have like a resonant note, it'll knock it down a little bit instead of completely cutting it out all the time, which is good. Yeah, it muted the input. But anyways, Tone Boosters EQ, use it. Tone Boosters Reverb, it's great. It does shimmer reverb, it's beautiful. These effects, they need to be put into a host in order to work right, which is why they're not working right when I call them up. So Reverb, Tone Boosters EQ, I use Barricade all over the friggin' place. Barricade is great. It just gets the sound louder. Some synths are quiet, some are super loud. It's just a great way to control it, and it's really fast. Tone Booster Compressor doesn't act as fast, and it really latches on hard to the sound, like audible compression artifacts. So it's better than the AU3FX Push. Don't get that one, but it can be pretty heavy-handed. So Reverb, EQ, Barricade from Tone Boosters, definitely. I haven't had a chance to play with this multi-band compressor, but it allows you to set multiple separate bands of compression, if you know what multi-band compression is. I don't know. The Bleed stuff is okay. I bought it. I don't really use it because I have a compressor already, because I have an EQ already, because I have the reverb already. And because I have other delays. The shimmer reverb is gorgeous, but I've only had like one chance to use it in a show. The compressor also very heavy hitting. You got to use it in the right place. Let's see here, EOS 2. Yeah, this is a beautiful reverb. I think you just heard it probably go wing, 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 wing. EOS 2 is a beautiful reverb. Other Desert Cities is the best delay I've used. It's ridiculous. Yale D is a reverse delay, extremely useful. Really, really, really useful. Flux is cool. It does LFO modulations on MIDI, which sounds like it would be useless until I show you this and pull up a song where I actually did it. So we go to drum break, right? And normally it wouldn't do all that other stuff. So what is going on? It's running all this through an LFO. Which fit really well in line with what was going on. So you can also do like the sidechain ducking sound, the shh, shh, shh kind of stuff. That's why I got it in the first place, but not what I ended up using it for. And then, let's see, are any of these gotta haves? The Chow stuff is all free. You might as well get it. Chow Matrix is incredible. Chow Tape is incredible. The kick's okay. I don't remember what BYOD does. LRC7 is also free, and it's just a parametric EQ, but it's free. So if you don't want to spend any money and you just want an EQ, get that one because it's really clean. It does a good job. I haven't found a good rotary program. This Leslie program, this Eventide's the best Leslie I found, but it's not good enough to be standalone for an organ patch. So I would stay away from it. Involver's cool, but doesn't work with KeyStage. It only works with AUM. But it's an envelope shaper, right? So you tap a key and it sends MIDI or audio envelopes to another channel to do wacky stuff with. BART filter I discovered was kind of useless. Unfortunately, like you buy stuff because it's cheap, it's like $3 on sale. Don't buy any of this stuff full price unless you absolutely need it. And then you realize you're not going to use it, so a lot of it, so just buy it all on sale. It all goes on sale. But those are the ones, it's a long list of stuff, but those are the ones you really, kind of get. Definitely need, again, if you're going to start out, get a good piano. These Genuine Sounds are okay. It's brand new. It's kind of expensive, so I'd stay away from it. Numa is free, but it's glitchy as crap, so I'd not really deal with it. Yeah, so that'll get you started. Yeah, so anyways, if you got any questions, let me know.